Hello everybody and welcome back to the show. It's time for one more set review for 2024. This will be also the first time I start evaluating cards and looking at the format forward post the epic September bannings of Mana Crypt, Dockside, Jewel Lotus and Nadu, of course. You can think of Foundations as an epic core set from days gone with new cards and reprints, and oh boy does this set have a lot of reprints. But that is not the topic for today, for I am only going to be looking at new cards, and before we start I want to show you this. The set symbols, since mostly you will see the main set or the Jumpstart set logo, so this way you are not confused about the various symbols. Good! Let's dig right into the section I call Cool Legends, best in the 99 rather than at the helm. Tiny Bones, Bauble Burglar. Also, are we still on the confused about the Pips timeline? I hope not. Anyways, this new Tiny Bones for 1 and a black is a legendary skeleton, 1 free rogue with, whenever an opponent discards a card, exile it from their graveyard with a stash counter on it. During your turn, you may play cards you don't own with stash counters on them from exile, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. 3 and a black and tap. Each opponent discards the card, activate only as a sorcery. Finally a new card that tracks cards it exiles, which is great. It's not really Grave Hate per se, but this Tiny Bone fits into the discard strategy deck. Mono black may limit the win counts for Tiny here, but I am sure we can find some fun stuff in Moral Card decks. I mean, it's no Doffy Voidwalker, obviously, but it has potential. Right now, the main hate this tiny fella does is for someone sacrificing their Lion-Side Diamond. But that is still a trigger and can be responded to, but I believe this tiny rogue can cook something. Moving on, we got Dionys? Something, Elvish Archdruid. A legendary druid for 3 generic and 1 green pip. Here I go doing it again. And Dionys is a free with very familiar text line. Elves you control have, here's the quotation mark, whenever this creature becomes tapped during your turn, untap it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This ability triggers only once each turn. So it is a doubler for elves, maybe even more if you have some special elves, and has that little tiny reminder of that ye old Nadu. Boy, in a few years people will be asking, what is Nadu? Anyways, yeah, elf ball decks want this in the 99 because 4 mana as a commander does not outright win the game like Azuri or other elves can, but still a hot mana double for elves. Joshua, hey buddy, you getting this one for Azuri? Let me know. Ref, Tithe Extractor. For 3 and a black is a legendary human rogue free with, whenever you attack, target creature gains death touch until end of turn, just 1. And whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Then, look at the top card of that player's library and exile it face down. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. 1. Is this an upgrade or companion piece to the Grim Hireling? Hard to say, because Grim Hireling wins with Najila outright. This one needs more workaround. One thing I can say, this one will be harder to play online, because your opponents do not see what card you exile with this effect. But yes, this is another card that turns your creatures into like mini Ragavans, and one of them even gains Death Touch. If we were in the clone meta, this could even target someone's Phantasmal Image and kill it. But yeah, times change. Combat players, let me know how you feel about more Tithe taken from your opponents. Next card I'm gonna talk about can be a commander, but I am kinda split on it. Anyways, here is General Craft, whatever, the Boltbringer, a legendary 2/2 goblin soldier for 2 and a red with whenever 1 or more goblins you control attack, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking, and whenever another creature you control enters, General Crate, the Boltbringer deals 1 damage to each opponent. Yet again, we have another one of those impact Tremor-like commanders, so you can probably put it all in one deck, to be honest, I think. Creed here likes to reward you with if you play more goblins and like attacking and stuff, and this can go quickly out of hand. Remember earlier I mentioned Elf Ball? What about Goblin Ball? Purpurous players know what I mean, but yeah, maybe Purpurous will remain the best in this still though. 9 Lives Familiar is a cat for 1 and 2 black pips, is a 1/1 and has this text. This creature enters with 8 revival counters on it if you cast it. When this creature dies, if it had a revival counter on it, return it to the battlefield 1 fewer revival counters on it at the beginning of the next end step. Wow, I just read that final line and I am feeling like Cam from Play to Win. I was about to say that this has Razaketh shenanigans potential, but now I can literally throw that out the window. I can literally skipping half my texts here. And that it's a 1/1 doesn't matter in a Ballmaster World, because again, if you cast it, it just comes back. But the one place where I still think it will shine is Taya, because when you have Taya out and you cast it, it gets 8 counters, plus a Vigilance counter, and bam, you got 9 counters on a single creature to abuse. Sure, reanimating it without the counters does nothing, and as I said, if it dies with the counters, it comes back at the end step, so you can't actually do the shenanigans I was thinking to doing, and this card just got way worse than when I originally thought about it. So yeah, Tayam players, let me know what you think about it. Everybody else, forget I was trying to say something about Razaketh. Forget it! Just forget it. Moving on. Electro Duplicate is a sorcery for 2 in a red that has create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has haste, and at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this token. Also, it has flashback for 2 generic and 2 red pips. Well, yes, we no longer have Docky, but this is the first of its effect that can be cast from your yard. Sure goes infinite with dual caster mage, and Atali players rejoice, and Godo players too, for another copy effect that is relatively cheap, but I have to ask, Wizards, we got like 5 of these basically already. When do we get another dual caster type creature? Hit me up, we may come up with something fun together. Delightful Discovery is an instant for 4 and a blue. Yes, hear me out, let me cook. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each spell your opponents have cast this turn. And the spell obviously does scry 2, then draw 2 cards. This one is aimed for more the mono blue players around it that are fighting wizard battles and need to refuel. Because in the perfect world, you cast it for 1 blue pip, you scry 2, draw 2 for 1 basically as an instant, and that's fun, right? I mean, it's not great, but I'm sure blue wizards will find a home for it, and wizard battles we trust. Eisenhead, this may be something for Ursa? Let's circle back to more legends. Nerdiv, Devious Diver, hope I'm not butchering those names today, is a legendary merfolk rogue 2/2 for 2 and a blue with whenever Nerdiv Devious Diver becomes tapped, target player mills cards equal to its power. And whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard or activate an ability of a card in your graveyard, draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on Nerdiv. The draw a card is a must, you can't skip that. Sure, Secrets of the Dead was never good in cEDH, besides being a great song by Chimera, but on a legendary creature with extra possibilities to mill, I mean, tapping and untapping is easy, we combo with that all day every day. I'm sure this card will be great in the 99 in the 2-color deck, maybe with red, like this, so you can have access to Breach or some reanimated shenanigans in black. I mean, Foundations is a standard set trying to build upon, well, a foundation for the next like 5 years. Sure, these cards are not going to be game breaking, but you see what I have to work with. We don't need to break or redefine cEDH every set. Sometimes fun new toys to test around are enough, and I feel this card is perfect for this, for shenanigans. And I love shenanigans. No, nobody's gonna pistol with me for that. And now we get to the High Fate Tricksters. A fairy wizard 4/2 for 3 and a blue with flash, flying, and you may cast spells as though they had flash. Here we go again with casting everything with flash that is also having flash. It's 4 mana and Turbonos decks is going to hurt, but in another deck might won't, because you know we already have, like, again, as I mentioned earlier, like 5 of these. I mean, it's no Otter, for example, because the Otter can combo off with certain knickknacks, but the more the merrier. I'm not sure we need so much of the same effect, but you know, Nimrus maybe? And that about does it for this foundational block of the future. Will this set break cEDH? Well, no, I don't think so. I would say it's more of a support for some lower tier decks, while top tier decks basically remain unchanged for now, as the meta develops. But what about you? Did I miss any card you think will make a splash in cEDH? I do have 2 more quick announcements to make at the end, so bear with me as I hold you hostage. 1, there are 4 more gameplay videos with the old cEDH ban list coming up. This is what we call when you had plans that they changed after you recorded them. And finally, in less than 2 weeks, on the weekend of the 16th and 17th of November, I will be attending the European cEDH Championship in Lisbon. So keep your fingers crossed. There will be vlogs and updates, so stick around, consider subscribing or joining my Patreon. And as always, I am Def. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all behind the veil.